Hi, this is Linda of Windy Oaks Farm, and I'm going to do a quick comparison of my Lendrum Castle-style double treadle spinning wheel and this, I think it's a Jack Plum, don't quote me on that, Saxony double drive single treadle wheel. Marfu23 had asked me to say a little bit about the Lendrum and how it works, and I thought this was the perfect opportunity because I have both projects on both wheels. This wheel is actually one that was donated to the Kanakachig Institute. I have it here because it took a little TLC to get it up and spinning, and I figured what better way to make sure I knew how to teach on it than to do a project my own self. So anyway, let's get started. We'll start with the Lendrum, which is my absolute favorite. I adore this wheel. This is Castle style, so you notice that the treadles are stacked under the wheel, which is stacked under the maiden and mother of all. So it's castle straight up and down. This is a Saxony style. This has the wheel on the side, the treadle underneath both, but primarily under the wheel itself, and then the mother of all over here, as well as a distaff. So they're just set up differently. The other major difference between these two wheels is this is double drive. So there's one band that goes on the whorls and one band that goes on the bobbin, and then they, oops, it slipped a little here. This is one of the reasons I don't care for this particular wheel, is it tends to slip, and this is after quite a bit of adjustment and work. It's not as bad as it was. It used to be we couldn't keep the drive band on, but it's a little bit better than it was. So anyway, okay, so I went and fixed the drive band, but the drive band goes around the wheel, and then down here at the bottom it crosses. And when you're spinning, you want the cross to be at the bottom, and when you're plying, the cross goes up at the top. One of the other differences on this wheel is it has hooks, and as you fill your bobbin, you move it from hook to fill the bobbin evenly. And last but not least, it's a single treadle, which means, thank you, Wonder Dog. Wonder Dog wants to come help look at the wheels. It's a single treadle, so you only have one place to put your feet, as opposed to the Lendrum, which is a double treadle. So I like the double treadle. I find it much more comfortable to use personally. I don't feel like I'm putting all of the effort on one foot like I do with this one. I like having the balance. I find it a more comfortable motion. Your mileage may vary. The other thing that I really like about this Lendrum, and just for the record, there are other double drive Saxony styles where you can get a lot of the same features on the Lendrum. This is just this particular one that doesn't have it. My Lendrum, I actually have my fast flier on. There are 4 different sizes of flier that you can use with this same wheel. It's easy to replace depending on what you're doing. There's a big one for art yarn and plying. There's a regular one for regular spinning. There's a fast flier for lace spinning. You can see I'm doing pretty fine yarn on this. And then there's a very fast flier for even finer yarn. I like that on the regular head here, it has its own orifice hook and a spot to put it. And just generally speaking, I adore this wheel. The treadles also fold up, so there's a knob there in the back that you can undo, fold up the treadles. It's perfect for moving it from place to place. This one here, we're going to actually have to glue pieces into place. It keeps falling apart anytime you pick it up. I think part of that is the age. I haven't really been able to date it very well, but I think it's 1970s. And I'm not sure how it's been stored. So it just doesn't, it's not snug. One of the cool features of a lot of these style wheels is they actually use leather to hold the orifice here that the yarn goes through, as opposed to the wood and the bushing here. There's actually metal bushing on the inside. I don't know if we can see it here without taking the wheel apart, but there's plastic and metal bushing in there. So leather is definitely much more easy to replace. One of the things I find about double drives in general is they're great for spinning a lot quickly, but they have really strong draw-ins. So they want to yank the fiber out of your hand and onto the bobbin. I know there are people who can do really amazing things on double drives. This is my personal opinion. Your mileage may vary, but I don't like how they yank the fiber in. One of the things I love about the Lendrum is the brake tension over here. It just takes the tiniest little bit of adjustment and you get huge changes in how your draw-in comes in. Right now I've got this cross-laced because I want very little draw-in, so there's very little pressure on my brake band, very, very little. I have it laced over the flier arm and then through the sliding hook and into the orifice. So one of the cool things, I mentioned the hook on the Saxony-style wheel, is that this has a slider, and sliders are becoming much more popular on modern wheels, but they let you really decide where you want to load the yarn onto the bobbin. So one of the problems with hooks is they're a certain distance apart. So as you load on, you're going to have your certain distance of here and then to the next hook and to the next hook, and it can make bumps in the way you load onto the bobbin. Now that can be an issue when you are plying because the yarn can get caught in those valleys between the bumps and it makes it a little tighter, so your plies may not be as even. It's not a huge pain in the butt, but it's definitely something to be aware of when you're plying. It can cause a little unevenness. So the nice thing with the slider hook is you can just do minute adjustments to really load it evenly. Now you can tell one of the things here, I'm not filling this end of the bobbin on this particular project because I'm cross-lacing and it falls off the end. When I put it here to try and fill the end of this bobbin, it falls off the end and puts a little bit too much draw-in for what I want for this project. So instead, I'm stopping a little bit further up and leaving that open there at the end. So normally I would have filled it all the way. That purple there is just my leader yarn that I used to get started with this particular bobbin. That's all I can think of right at the moment. I'm sure I could talk about it for hours more if you gave me a chance, but I don't want to bore you all silly. It's already almost 8-minute video. Oh, and there's Jack. Jack is making an appearance as well, special guest star. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I know my camera work is terrible, but I hope this at least gives you a little tour of a Saxony double drive and a Castle. This is called Scotch tension, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. Scotch tension. It's just over the bobbin. Excuse me. It's just over the bobbin, and then there's a separate drive band that goes over the whorls. So those are two separate things, whereas over here on the double drive, it's the same cord going around the wheel. So it just causes it to spin differently. People have different preferences. It's definitely your mileage may vary. I love the Lendrum. I love how customizable the tension is. I don't get that when I spin on double drives, but double drives do have their purpose. They're really good at spinning a lot of yarn very fast. I find that the drawing really keeps me on my toes and gets me to spin quickly. They're also really good at spinning thinner, and that's one of the struggles. I'm trying not to spin too thin on this particular project because I want a really heavy worsted or maybe even Aran weight yarn when it's done. So I would love it to be a little less quick on the draw-in, a little less twist being put into the yarn, because it goes so quickly. But you know, I'm making it do. I'm making it work, and yeah. So thanks for taking this little tour with me. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching. Please click like if you found this helpful, and click subscribe if you want to see more spinning and fiber content. Thank you. Bye.